From the city to rural North America, this is Rural Radio Live, connecting the people who grow America's food and fiber with those who enjoy it. Call in. Let's talk. It's Rural Radio Live.
Birds can cause millions of dollars in property damage every year to businesses, farms, ranches, even public areas. If birds have damaged your property or they're just a nuisance to you and your business, tonight's program provides environmentally friendly and humane solutions to your problems. Welcome to our program. I'm Mark Oppel. Great to have you with us tonight, our friends from Flockfree. Guests tonight and co-founders of the program, of the company, Flockfree, a new partner here for all of our networks. Thank you very much for joining us and tuning in. Tom Capps and Paul Rosario, the men behind this new product, and Make a Move. Also, we're going to hear that name a lot too. Yes, welcome, gentlemen. It's great to have you here.
Well, we're happy to be here.
It's great. Wow, what a story you have. And we have an hour. It's going to go fast to introduce a new product. It's always enjoyable for us to introduce new products to our viewers and listeners, and we have that opportunity here tonight. Let's start with you, Tom, and give our viewers and listeners an idea of how this company began.
You know, it's pretty funny because if you would have told us 8 years ago we'd be doing bird control, we said it would be impossible.
Yeah.
I started out being a parking lot sweeper for a bunch of different properties in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Our biggest customer was Home Depot. One of my property managers called me and said, well, we have a problem with birds. At the end of a shopping center, there was a beauty salon. And women were going and getting their hair done real nice, and they looked real pretty when they came out, but they were getting pooped on occasion when they came out of the beauty salon. This was unacceptable, of course.
Yeah.
So the property manager called 2 or 3 different pest control companies to get rid of that problem, and they couldn't do it. So I sort of had a reputation of figuring out ways of getting things done, whether it be how to fix a fence or a weird pothole or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I did a little reading, I came up with a solution, and it worked. And then I relayed that story to my Home Depot contact, and I said, can you believe I'm getting rid of birds now, all the crazy stuff that we're doing, Paul and I? And he said, well, you know what, we have a problem in one of our Home Depot stores in Colonia of Woodbridge, of all places. And he sent me to go take a look at it. So I sent Paul. We partnered up to do some of the contracting work. And Paul thought I was crazy. We're going to go do bird work. So I sent Paul, he did the job. And then lo and behold, they had another problem in another store. So we went and did that job. And then before you knew it, we're doing more bird work than we were doing sweeping work. And it just sort of grew from there.
How about that? The old American success story. And we're going to be showing products tonight for viewers and listeners, and describing them for you as well, giving phone numbers for you to learn more about these great products. But talk about that, Paul, as far as the experimental. That's something you really enjoy doing.
It was amazing because Home Depot was our biggest playground. So when we went there to take care of all these problems, we realized that the stuff that was out there in the market didn't work. So we had to start inventing our own ways of doing things and just tweaking things around. And we realized that when the birds did this, they reacted differently, and we had to do different things to stop the birds, to deter them from roosting and coming into the stores and destroying product. So we came up with different features to do that, and that's where we are today.
And Tom, I guess we want to make sure we point out here, you talked a lot about your beginning with Home Depot, but if our viewers and listeners have orchards, they run golf courses or public parks, grain bins, garages, storage areas with machinery, cars, horse barns, wherever there's a problem with birds, for the nuisance that you've already described, this program is for them.
Oh yeah, and you know, there's no one bird solution out there that's guaranteed to work. You have to mix and match different solutions. That's what we kind of figured out. We try to apply a little bit of science to what we do, and then a little bit of trial and error. And we wouldn't be where we were without the Home Depot, because like Paul mentioned, they let us try things and do things. So everything that we tried, every product that we're going to show you guys tonight works because we use it every day.
And before we see that first product, it's really interesting, the more the crew and the team tonight and today were listening to you, that birds can be taught just like humans, I guess, and animals, trained animals. Birds are the same way, even wild migratory birds.
Yeah, you know what's funny, because as we started doing work for various retailers, we actually saw the birds flying past the doors using the motion sensor to get into the doors. So we said, boy, these birds are smart. So now we use our methods to mix and match things to teach the birds to leave. We do nothing but green solutions that don't harm the birds. And yet we have a good 80 to 95% reduction in bird populations. No matter where we go, it doesn't matter who the customer is, we always figure it out. And it's been real successful for us.
All right, so viewers, listeners, you have a problem. We are going to be opening our telephone lines later in our program, so be taking careful notes. Write down our toll-free number. We'll be giving you a bit later. We have a lot to cover before that, but just to let you know, we are live and we want to hear from you, maybe solving your problems tonight with our friends from Flockfree and Make 'em Move. So let's get started, Tom. The first thing we're going to talk about is what you call your flock reflector.
Yes, our flock reflector. People have used reflectors for years to deter birds. And we wanted to come up with one that was pretty, that worked, and could go well anywhere. So you can put this on $1 million yacht or you can put it on a barn. The idea behind it is birds are part of a food chain. So they avoid novel objects in order to prevent themselves from becoming the next dinner, you know? So when they see something they don't know, they avoid it. But that only lasts for a while. This flock reflector works really well with seagulls because of the way they think and act. They need to see what's going on to avoid the bigger predators.
So how does it work?
Well, it's wind driven, and as it spins, it gives those reflections. The conical shape of the spinning part actually gives reflections up, even when it's sitting still, because the birds move. If the reflector's still, the birds are moving.
That makes sense.
So, like I said, it works really great. Now, I'll have Paul explain some of the features of the product.
Please.
To you.
Well, for one thing, the reflector itself is plastic that's dipped in chrome. It's the process is very, very keen because I've tested this product out in the field for months and months and months, and
He's keeping ducks out of his pool.
That's what I'm doing. I'm keeping ducks out of my
So
pool.
there's, okay, swimming pools.
Swimming pools.
Exactly.
Another application.
Barns, coping on buildings. It's amazing how the reflection is incredible. But let me tell you a little bit about how it's made. It is a sealed shaft. This shaft right here is aluminum, solid base aluminum, and a sealed bearing. It can be screwed or glued. We have suction cups here, as Tom mentioned before, that could be suctioned down to a boat. If you have a boat, you're trying to protect the marina or pilings on the marina.
An RV, anything with kind of a plastic outer shell.
Wow, RV.
And it's really, really hard to get off.
Right. It's a great, amazing product.
Yeah, it works
Proven
really well.
concept.
Yeah, and what we'll do is we mix and match this with some of the other products that we're going to show you, and we teach the birds to be afraid of the flock reflector, so it lasts longer than like the owl does or something.
And the deterrent is that the light reflection.
Reflection of light at different angles. And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't even have to move because that slight reflection, when the sun hits at different times of the day, the birds cannot get used to it. So it works all day long. I've been testing this around my pool. It's keeping the ducks away from my pool. They actually go into my father-in-law's pool and across the lagoons to the other
Very happy
houses.
about that.
They're not very happy.
Maybe other applications where you've talked about boats, swimming pools, on top of buildings.
Yes.
Agriculture applications out in
agricultural.
fields.
Out in the fields. You can mount these on posts out in the field.
And the key thing is if you were to use more than one or two of these on a roof, if you mount them on opposite ends of a roof or in different elevations, they spin at different integrals and different speeds. So when the birds are coming, it's like a laser show. And every day it's different because the wind blows differently every day. So they can't get used to it.
And it's a very affordable product. Talking $49 is the show price today.
Yeah, by the way, viewers, we are going to be sharing, Tom and Paul, the pricing for each of the products that you see tonight, and there will be special offers for viewers and listeners, and we'll be telling you about that and a number to call to get the special offer. Anything else before we go to the next product that you brought with you that as far as the flock reflectors that you want to make sure that viewers and listeners understand?
Absolutely. This is a great first step. If you're having bird problems, this is a great first thing to try because you want to do the simplest thing first and see how the birds react to it. And the other thing is there is a second hole on it so you can mount it on a slanted roof. We forgot to mention that. We're a little nervous being on TV for the first time.
No, you guys.
We're trying to get it all out there.
Yeah,
okay?
no, you're doing fine. And I guess the other thing about that is that something very important. Some companies, and they want to go with a big ticket first to solve someone's problem. You like to try the other direction. Hey, if it's a simple issue, less than $100 that can fix your problem, this might be the solution.
Absolutely.
Every place that we go to, the birds react differently. There are different types of birds. There's resident birds as opposed to migratory birds. Residential birds you need to treat one way. Migratory birds you need to treat another way. It depends. If a bird's been in a building for 10 years nesting or 5 years nesting, they think it's their home. So for you to boot them out of there is going to take a lot more work than the bird that comes around once a year.
Now, again, someone might suggest, well, okay, you have owls that that was an old, maybe people still use it. What's going to keep, how are we going to train the birds to, once they see, oh, it's just a reflection, or will they never learn what it actually is?
That's a good question, and you're right. Residential birds get used to everything over time. So what we do is we mix and match other solutions, as we're going to show you next, that actually we play association. So the reflector, how about that? Huh?
Yeah.
The reflector actually becomes a part of the whole system. We put a program together at a place. Usually when we treat a store or barn or building, it's 2 or 3 things, and the flock reflector just plays into those other products.
All right. One of the things, we have time to do that. We're going to take a break, but let's go ahead and talk about the shock tape. We'll put this down, and the next product, again, Tom Caps, Paul Rosario from Flockfree, and Make a Move. So talk about the shock tape here.
Well, like you said, the flock reflector by itself is pretty and does a pretty good job. But if you have birds that have been living at a building and they've been there for a while, and they're sitting on coping or piping or ledges,
and they've made their homes, and you can tell they've been there for years by the droppings,
exactly,
obviously.
Exactly. And they're typically people use spikes or these coils, and they work okay. But in a lot of instances, what we found is if we can provide a static shock to that area, they sit on it one time, receive a static shock, they learn really fast. It's like if you're going to the refrigerator at night to get a snack and you grab the handle, it gives you a little bit of a shock.
And I don't give my wife any ideas.
You know, you cut down on the snacks.
Yeah, I guess so.
So we actually use this tape to run a solar charger to, and if a bird lands on it, it gives them a little static pulse, and it teaches them to stay away. We put a flock reflector next to it. As the flock reflector is spinning and the bird lands on the tape, they think it's the flock reflector, not the tape. And this is a real easy do-it-yourself, and I'm going to allow Paul to
slide
tell you
that
a
over
little
to
bit
Paul
about
just real quick,
how it
and
works.
Paul, kind of show us again a little bit more about this reflector tape.
The reflector tape is a peel and stick system. Just peel the backing off, and you can lay it down, and it has its own adhesive on the back of it. The leads are basically aluminum. They won't corrode. They're aircraft aluminum. Normally, like Tom was saying, we hook up a solar charger to it, which I have right over here on the side, which sends a static shock through the system. Birds land on it, they learn very quickly to stay away.
Yeah, it's a pulsating.
You pull that back so you can see that it's clear, and it's not the blue we're looking at there. When you pull it back, one of the important things I think you want to show to viewers and explain to listeners is that it's clear tape when you peel that back, so it's going to take the color of whatever you put it on. So on our table, here, for example, I'm not sure we can get an overhead shot, but you can kind of see it's blending in with the table,
right.
And it will take that so it blends in with whatever background color that you put that on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, if you have a restaurant or you have something a little more classy looking, or even a simple barn, and you don't want to see the spikes up there, this works really well. You can use this on wood, plastic, metal, indoor,
Talk about
outdoor.
more applications, if you would, for us.
We've used
Tom.
this inside barns. We've used it on the coping at Home Depot. We do signage with it. We do on top of columns with it. Virtually anywhere that we want to keep a bird off of, we can peel and stick and put this
on piping. Doesn't matter where you put it, it'll work.
And easy to install.
Very easy to install.
All these, we haven't talked about that yet, but I think it's worthy to make note right now that anything we show tonight or talk about tonight is easy to install for whoever wants to own that and take care of their own problem if they want to. They don't have to have pay for an installer.
Yeah, that was our goal, to try to come up with products that people could use. So we use them. We actually make something, we give it to our guys out in the field, and they use it, and they come back and give us their feedback. Hey, this was hard. Hey, this was great. And then we know now people can use this. We're available for consultations, so we'll help anybody with our products.
All right.
But they're real simple to use.
And I'd like to bring up the solar charger that powers this.
Yeah, talk about the charger for this.
Well, it's powered by the sun. It runs off of a 6-volt battery. It charges up to 6-volt battery. We charge this whole system. We can normally run 25 miles of shock tape.
Off of one charger?
Off of one charger.
Wow.
So it'll run 1 month without sunlight. So that's how effective it is. And once a bird sits on it, they get that static shock. They never come back. They stay away.
Indoors or out?
Either or.
Yep, and if it gets wet, it'll actually just shut down while it's wet, and then when it gets dried up, it works again. So it's really good stuff. The low profile is the key. You don't see it.
That's absolutely correct.
Which we've had a lot of success with it.
And you're not afraid to give pricing on any of these, so we're talking about a shock tape. What are we looking at there?
Yeah, we sell this in 54-foot rolls, and I believe
$162 a roll.
$162 a roll.
All right.
Which is a special sale price. It usually sells
54 feet?
Is 54 feet.
54-foot rolls.
And the solar charger costs about $230.
We're going to continue to show, and for those of you listening on Sirius XM, 877-935-6250, a number to call to get all the specials that we're talking about with our friends from Flockfree and Make a Move. 877, it's toll free, 877-935-6250. And they have operators standing by right now and will for a couple of hours following our program for you to call and learn all about the products and the specials just for listening in and for tuning in. We're going to take a break right now. We'll come back and talk about the shock stick. Is that right? The shock stick.
Revolutionary new product.
All right. Stay away. Don't go away. We have lots more to share with you, our friends from Flockfree and Make a Move right here. Be right back after this.
Be right back after these messages.
How's that looking out there?
That's really cool, that tape.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
From now that they have it here, you better be careful where you sit down.
Yeah.
Practical jokes. That's the next thing that happens.
It doesn't shock people.
Well, did we cover everything on the shock tape? Because I didn't do the testimonial, but I want to make sure we do that. So, is there anything we missed on the?
On the tape itself, I don't think so.
Well, you know what? There's something we can mention.
Welcome
and
back
it's
to
an immediate
Rural
result.
Radio Live.
That's what George talks about, how it's immediate results.
I didn't hear what you say again.
It's an immediate result. It's an immediate, you put shock tape on it.
Oh, and how long it will last? Did we talk about that?
It's warranted for 3 years.
Immediate results. And a long life,
Yes.
or you want to talk about long life or a warranty? Does it matter?
Yeah, long life is fine.
Long life. How long will it last? 1 minute, Cherokee.
So yeah, you can do that video if you wanted the shock tape about that. And
Real good.
If I touch that, was
Okay.
This?
No.
not now.
No, because it's not hooked up to that.
And you can leave that there because we won't.
Sure.
We'll talk about the shock tape,
You wouldn't want to touch that, though. Oh, my God.
immediate results and long life, and then get the testimonial,
Okay, perfect.
and then come back and talk about the
Shock stick.
shock stick.
Okay, great.
30 seconds. Do you want to put the phone number up and start, get sooner than later, take calls, or do you want to keep talking? Right?
Welcome back to Rural Radio Live. Now, here are your hosts.
And welcome back to our program. I'm Mark Oppel, along with our friends from Flockfree and Make a Move, and that would be Tom Capps and Paul Rosario. And before we left, we were talking about the shock tape. And before we move on to the next product, Tom, maybe just a real quick about you said during the break there, Mark, this thing will work. The users are going to see immediate results.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll have an area above a cash register or like a refrigerated unit in a food court or something. And if birds are sitting on top and making a mess, you put the shock tape up there and you get immediate results. I mean, you put it up within an hour, they're never going to sit up there again. And we've seen that time and time again. And the warrant, we have a long warranty. The tape itself is warranted for 3 years. The solar charge is warranted
Yeah, I was
for
going to
9
ask.
years.
That was the other thing. How long will a tape 54-foot roll? How long will that last?
Yeah, if it's outdoors, we expect about a 3-year life. If it's indoors, it could go forever because there's no sunlight. Sunlight eventually damages things.
And it could also adhere to wood, plastic, metal, all types of objects.
Good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
and safe for children or
Very-
anyone else that would come around it.
Very safe.
It's safe. We try to only put that where people are not going to touch it because it is a tad unpleasant for people. So we suggest if you're going to put it up where people can't reach it. Or at least warn people that it's up there, or else you're going to get a little surprise.
Yeah, well, I had a little surprise this afternoon, but we
Yes, yeah.
All right, you have a lot of satisfied customers around the world, literally, but around the country. We're going to go to New Jersey, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, yes. Our
One of
friend
your
George.
customers named George, and hear from George personally about a problem he had that he doesn't have anymore.
This is George from Twin Pond Farm. have a farm market, and we had a problem with birds, landing on the rafters in our farm stand and making, poop on all the produce and stuff like that. And it became a big problem. And we gave Tom a call over at Flockfree, and they gave us a couple ways we can go around it, or a couple ways we could take care of the problem. And one of the ways was buying this tape and hook it to a charger. He said, go ahead and try it, see how it works. So we set it all up, and as soon as we turned it on, within 5 minutes, there was no more birds in the farm market. And it was very simple to install. Tom told me what to do, and we did it all. We had it done in a few hours, and it works really well. There's no more birds at all that make nests or even come into our little farm market. It was a simple fix, and Flockfree took care of us well on it.
There's George, another great. You don't ever get tired, I'm sure, of hearing those kinds of testimonials from people, and it really makes it all worthwhile, I would think, for both of you.
You know what? If you make something that works, then you can just tell the truth to people. They never have anything to worry about. So, the last people on the planet you can BS is a farmer like George. That guy works morning, noon, and night. He barely has time to even answer the phone when I call him. So the last thing he's got time for is nonsense. So we give people something that works.
Tom Capps and Paul Rosario joining us. First time we welcome them to the family here of our networks at Flockfree and Make a Move. We talked about the shock tape before taking that break, and we mentioned the shock stick. By the way, something I didn't realize that we were introducing these for the very first time to our audience, and thank you for trusting us to share this with our viewers and listeners.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We heard a lot of good things about the people that watch your program, that they're do-it-yourself, hard-working people, and those are just the kind of people we're trying to reach.
All right, we have a stick here that's, again, for those on the radio, how long is this? Be about
4 foot long.
4 foot long?
48 inches long.
This is your shock stick, Paul.
This is the shock stick, yes it is. It's military-grade plastic with aluminum, again, aircraft aluminum leads, sealed ends. And what we do with this is we actually install these in trees. We create an artificial perch, basically. The birds land on this, they get a little static shock, and they stay away. And you can daisy chain these together in series. As you can see, there's leads here. There's female and male leads at the end. You could hook up multiple runs of these.
Our solar charger could do 25 miles of these. So this is
25 miles.
25 miles. So this is the first time ever that you can protect a crop or a grove of trees without having to use electricity. We use the sun. So we've had a cherry. We have a guy with a cherry tree. We put 4 sticks in a cherry tree, which is a pretty big tree, and the guys had 90% difference in the amount of cherries he loses. So we designed this to put in trees to keep birds from sitting on. And we tested it. And you make this the most comfortable perch to sit on, and the birds will sit on it, and they leave the tree alone. So it's really amazing. It's the first time ever.
I imagine people that park their cars under trees at apartment houses or businesses where they have trees. They look great.
Exactly. It's
people
very,
drive
very
in and
effective.
they come out. Their cars are a mess. It doesn't bode well for the business. They want to change that. So another application. Am I right?
We had a woman call us, and she was recommended us because people know that we're a little different, about bird control, in a good way, But she called us and she said, we have these fancy cars parked in a parking lot. There's about 5 trees surrounding the cars, and the cars are getting pooped on so bad they're turning white. And she goes, the last guy suggested that I net the trees. I said, wait. We have something for you. And I described the solution to her, and they were very excited. We put 75 of these shock sticks in 5 trees, and the birds have been gone for the last 6 months. That's in New York City, so they got some really tough birds.
They got tough birds in New York City.
Takes a couple guys from New Jersey to take on the birds in New York, but we did it.
Right.
And they were very large trees. They were like 80-foot trees.
Yeah.
There were 5 of them, so that's why it took so many shock sticks. But normally, it doesn't take that many because once the alpha bird hits his stick, that's it. He takes the whole flock with him.
And they blend right in. You put these around a restaurant with the birds. Birds have a habit of roosting in trees around a restaurant. Then they attack the restaurant, the food on the table, and they go back to the trees. And now we can keep them out of the trees. So there are going to be a lot of uses for this in the future.
Rural America, again, always being aware of the people that have that rural lifestyle and how it might be applied on a farm, a ranch, an acreage, that kind of thing.
Yeah, protect your tomato plants, protect your cherry trees, protect your blueberry trees. Anything where a bird is coming down and attacking now, you have a 3-acre farm and you can't protect that crop out 2 acres away from your home except with a scarecrow that they get used. Now you can mix and match these in with a scarecrow or some other reflector type thing. The birds see the reflector. Sometimes you get hundreds of birds coming in on a field at one time. All it takes is 15 or 20 of them to sit on these trees, sit in the trees with the shock sticks, and they all take off. So it's a nice tool for
You can
someone
install
to
this
use.
in barns above.
Create artificial perches, things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing, and available, by the way, clear all across the country, no matter where people are listening or watching. These are going to be available nearby.
Yes,
Right, $15.95 per stick. For 10, it's $150.
All
it's
right.
a show special.
Show
Nothing
special.
like it in the world, first time ever.
First time.
And they
All right.
work great.
There again, if you're listening in, the toll-free number to call about the shock stick. And those of you watching, 877-935-6250. 877-935-6250. That's not our number. We're going to give you our number in a little bit, but that's to call in and ask about the show specials you're hearing tonight from our friends from Flockfree and Make a Move. Let them know that you're listening and hearing about it, and you'd like to know more and the show specials, just because you are watching and listening to the program. Easy to install again, gentlemen?
Yeah, very simple to do. Very simple to do. We know now that in barns specifically, bird feces can carry salmonella poisoning. So, and we have all these shocking things. People, they're shocking the birds. They must be like Frankenstein here, shocking the birds left and right. But everything we do is very humane. These things will not hurt a bird, but it will teach them to stay away. So you can really protect your animals. You can protect your building, that kind of thing, your trees. It's a really nice way of moving a bird without hurting them.
And I know you're very proud. Made in America. Everything you're going to see and hear about, made in America.
Yep, manufactured or pieced together in America, yes.
Right.
Very good. And the products here, this is is it like PVC, Paul? Is that?
Yes, it's military grade PVC with military grade aluminum also, and it's a silicone based tape that's clear. So this will last
Years.
long.
Yeah,
long
about
time.
life on this. What's the?
Oh God, 5 years easy.
Yeah. Indoors or out? I mean,
Indoors
indoors
probably
are-
longer.
Yeah.
Outdoors, with the elements, it'll last 5 years.
And we made sure we spent a little extra money manufacturing by using non-corrosive aluminum leads. So we thought it was important. If it costs a couple pennies more but lasts a bunch of years longer, we thought it was a good trade-off.
No matter the size of birds, obviously, either. I mean, you've
matter.
got experience with all kinds of different
Absolutely.
birds
Yeah.
birds of prey or birds of any size as well.
Yeah, the key is to put this on the perimeter of a tree and make it the most, the easiest thing to land on. If you put it in the middle of a tree, they ain't going to land on it. If you put it on the outside of a tree nice and high, that's the first thing they're going to land on. Even if they trim the tree branches a little bit to make this an inviting place to
It's
sit.
very attractive.
Like I said, they
area to
sit on
sit.
this once and they're like, wow, that hurt a little bit, and I'm going to go to the next tree. So it works really well.
And you have folks all around the country that can help, no matter where our listeners or viewers are at listening or watching. There'll be someone nearby. If they wanted some help or some direction, there is someone nearby that can do
Sure,
that.
if we can't help you on the phone, we can definitely help you with we have a service division of our Make a Move manufacturing company. We have crews all over the country
All
that
right.
can come and help you.
Speaking of the telephone, I'm going to give you our telephone number. We're going to open our telephone lines right now for you to call, talk to Paul and to Tom as well. Maybe solving your problems. Our toll-free number, 877-731-6733, 877-731-6733. We're going to be opening our telephone lines right now. Hope to hear from you and maybe solve your problem. You've been looking for something like this, and we have a lot more to show. Anything else before we go to our next product? Do you want to talk about the shock stick that we haven't covered, Paul or Tom?
Well, just the fact that you can hook these up in series, so you could hook up multiple leads of shock sticks, because our solar charger is so powerful, it runs 25 miles, so you can get a pretty good coverage on this.
And leave it, and because it's solar powered, you don't want to go out and check it every day or once a week or anything. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna work for.
Yes,
Yeah.
we normally attach these to trees with EPDM rubber bands, and they would stand all types of weather. So
And they stretch as the tree branches grow.
exactly, yeah.
Very good. All
And
right.
you can use a 110 charger as well if you have one already.
You have, let's take this down. You have what you, the next item, what you call a pallet protector. Wow, this is getting into, perhaps this is kind of the result of more of your work with folks like your Home Depot. But again, farmers and ranchers who have hay or stacks of seed corn, for example, fertilizer stacked up, whatever it might be on a pallet. Let's talk about this.
Sure, this is our pallet protector, as you stated. It's powered by a 9-volt battery. It's made out of heavy-duty vinyl. The idea behind this was a lot of times when we treat a warehouse facility, the birds, we keep the birds off the beams, we can keep them off certain areas, but a lot of times the birds are dropping down. If you treat one area of a building, the birds move to the other area. So if we keep them off the beams, they would drop down on top of the merchandise. And they start pooping on top of palletized merchandise. In the food processing plant, if you have a bird and a canopy poops on one pallet of baby food or something, they have to throw the whole pallet away. So we came up with this pallet protector. Like I said, you can put this on top of anything to keep birds off of, mice off of, squirrels. We get all kinds of animals running around. So any kind of a flat surface, whether it's indoors or semi-covered, this is not meant to be put outdoors by itself because it'll charge all the time and the battery will go dead. But we use this to really good effect. And what happens is, because the color of the pad is yellow, it does two things. One, it warns people not to touch it, inadvertently, and it also teaches the bird that yellow is painful. So what we do is we put 10 of these up and then put 10 sheets of yellow cardboard up, and the birds stay off the yellow cardboard too because we teach them that yellow is not a good thing. Now, Paul can actually talk about the actual functionality and how it works.
Yeah, please, Paul.
These leads are embedded in the plastic and in the vinyl.
Maybe we can hold. I don't know if we can hold it up on Terrence. Maybe our director can get a shot of the. It might be they might be too thin to see some of the wiring in there. Listeners, this is like a thin wire woven back and forth on this. What's the size of this one we have right now?
This is a 4x2.
4x2 foot. All right. And there's a close-up. You can see the battery. Go ahead now,
Right.
Paul.
This is the power source right here. It's a 9-volt battery. It's again a static charge. It puts a static charge out in this field here, this total field where I'm pointing at. There's also a button that you can press for pulse, meaning that you don't have to give that charge all the time, because once a bird sits on that, if he tries again and he hears the pulse, he'll jump off. So it's very effective that way also. These have handles on them, so you can bungee them down over palletized material. And these are really, really effective with rodents also. I had a customer call me the other day that he had a car, antique cars, where the rodents were coming up and chewing his wires in his car. So he wanted to know if he could buy these and install these underneath the car, so when the rodents came from underneath, they would get jolted with the static charge and they would leave. Yeah,
we put grommets in the corner so you can actually bungee them down in place so they don't slide off. And the battery life for this is approximately 3 months in normal temperature. If it gets really cold out, the battery will wear a little faster. But typically what will happen is that once the birds see this and get used to it, the animals see it, get used to it, if the battery goes dead for a month, it doesn't matter so much,
We installed 15 of these at a Home Depot in Maine, and the batteries went dead after 3 months. The manager forgot to install new batteries. When I went there to inspect them, birds still wouldn't sit on them because they associated the yellow with pain. So it was just amazing.
How about that? And where does that kind of research come from?
Trial and error.
Trial and error.
Trial and error.
That yellow. I mean, how did you?
Oh, we could pick any. We could have picked any color, and you can teach them. It's just yellow is a very vibrant color, and we also wanted to let if an employee were to go up there, the warning signs are easy to see. So this way, if someone doesn't know it's a pallet protector and what it does, it has all the warning signs on it, just to make it a little more safe for people.
We want to talk more about this. We have a caller on the line that wants to ask a question. Maybe we can solve a problem. This is Tim from Ohio. Tim, welcome to our program.
Thank you, gentlemen. I have a mallard duck that's raising her flock at my pool, and she doesn't want to leave. She thinks it's her home, so I was wondering if there was some kind of product I could put in the water that would discourage her and maybe have her go to another location, a local pond or whatever. I don't want to harm her, but I don't want her in my pool either. She keeps coming back every day. I guess that's too good an environment for her to leave.
All right, thanks, Tim. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. The easy answer is that if a bird has already had babies or laid an egg, then she's not going to leave no matter what you do. The key is once the cycle is done this year, you want to break that cycle because that duck will come back year after year. It typically takes 3 years to break a cycle. So the easiest solution is once that baby's done and the duck leaves, put a flock reflector out there as the first step next year.
There we go. Let's bring that on case reflector. This is has the 3 cones for our listeners on radio. That cones that rotate with the wind or not. But and re-describe this for you.
Well, you could put multiple flock reflectors around your pool. I've done that. I have a pool also, and that's how I protected my pool from the ducks going into my pool and defecating in my pool. It was terrible. So now they're going to my father-in-law's pool.
Who's not happy?
Who's not very happy. And I live on the water also, and they're going across to the other houses. So, and everybody's asking me, what is that? What is that? and it's for bird use, bird deterrent. So it works really good.
So again, back to Tim's situation. Unfortunately, with the babies, she's not going to leave until they're old enough to leave on their own.
Yeah.
Then what does he do in the interim? Then what will be the first step?
First step is to clean up everything and then get the flock reflector installed as soon as possible.
That what you would start with just the reflector.
Start with that, exactly. And for ducks, that's the best first step. Then we see what happens. If the duck continues to go into the water, there are some things we can do with the water. They don't like to swim in a chlorinated water, so you can up the chlorine in the water a little bit because they go in there for drinking. So if you make it a little higher chlorine content, they may not be as likely to swim in the pool. But first step is to do this.
All right. And that again, listeners and viewers joining us, you want to start with the simple process. And if they need more, you have other products that we talked about that they can move up to.
Yeah, in any situation across the board, if you have babies involved, you don't want to harm a baby. You don't want to touch a nest or anything like that.
Right.
But as soon as the baby's hatched and gone, you have to get rid of that nest because the birds actually leave bird mites. And that's when the bird mites come out and cause problems. So remove the nest, remove the bird feces because bird feces actually attract other bird feces. It's like hanging up a welcome sign. So you got to keep that poop cleaned up as well as soon as possible.
And clean that area. Is there anything else did they come back to the same scent where they left it? Or
yeah, bird poop gives off a pheromone, and it attracts other birds. So they actually say, hey, this place is loaded with poop. It makes it attractive to them to come back. But the key is if you're going to clean, make sure you wipe it, use bleach and water, and make it wet first. You never want to clean bird feces that are dry because that's how you inhale it and become sick. Always wear masks, gloves, and wet it down really well. And if you're not sure, call us, and we'll tell you how to do it right, or we'll come do it for you.
We're going to go to Wisconsin. Our next caller is Sandy. Sandy, welcome to our program.
Hello.
Go ahead.
I was calling. I was wondering if that shock tape would work on house siding because I have a woodpecker that's been pecking the wood, and also they've been pecking at my weeping willow trees also.
Okay. Woodpecker on the side of a house or a tree. What do you think about that?
We'll take it.
Well, there's other products for woodpeckers. We don't have them right here today. But yes, if you have a woodpecker that's trying to peck on a certain part of your house, you could use the shock tape and it will work very effectively, very quickly. But he may go to the other side of the house and start pecking there also. So there are products out there that we have, we don't have them on the show today, that you can paint on and stop the woodpeckers, yes.
That makes the side of the building taste bad. Yeah. So if you paint it on about a month ahead of time, the woodpecker will come back and start pecking, and it'll taste bad, and they'll go someplace else. So give us a call, and we'll give you that information. We'll be happy
All right, and we'll keep Sandy tuned in, and we will be giving that number out as well. Our number to join us and talking to Paul, Tom, is 877-731-6733. When you hear or see someone drop or hear someone drop, line is open for you to join us, and we can hopefully solve your problem, as hopefully we might do for Jim in Virginia. Jim, welcome.
Yes, I've got English sparrows that are under the eaves of my house. And, I've tried lots of things. It just hadn't worked. So I'm trying to, and in the spring, they go up in there, build a nest, and create issues, lots of noise and aggravating.
This is underneath the eave of your house.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's not a tree.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Piece of cake. You can put shock tape. If the birds are building it in the same corners or parts of the eave, you can put the shock tape up. You can mount it that way and use a solar charger or 110. But also, before the birds come, they're probably migratory birds, I think you stated. So put a fan out there, a simple fan, and the shock tape. Birds will not build a nest where it's windy. They're looking for places that are dead air space to build nests. So a little shock tape, a little wind up there with a simple house fan, and you're going to solve that problem.
Very good. Let's go to South Dakota. We continue on. Beth, thank you for calling. How can we help you?
Yeah, I have grapevines, and the robins want to get into them every fall, and I've tried the bird netting, and that's a pain to mess with all the time, trying to take it off especially. So I'm wondering about that shock stick, or if you have other recommendations keeping robins out of the fruit.
Well, hi, Beth. It's Paul Rosario. Yes, the shock stick is the best way to go about that. Let me just pick this up right here. Depending on how big your bush is or your tree.
Did you say vine, or was it
I think it was
a vineyard?
A vineyard. Yeah, you can install these in the vineyard, and they're very effective. Once the birds hit this shock stick, you get that static jolt, you'll be surprised, amazed that they won't come back.
And you can just simply, you don't have to use the wire that comes with. There's about a 2.5 foot piece of wire that comes on each end. You can simply make these. You can separate these by 10 feet if you needed to. So you may just want to put one shock stick per tree, and see how the birds react. Just put it up nice and high, so it's the first thing that the birds land on, and they will stay away.
Yeah, I was going to say for Beth, if she's got a vineyard and you've got, I don't know, number of rows, maybe it doesn't matter if you want to put it on either end of a row or
wherever you see that bird constantly going into, that's where you want to purchase, so that it's a habit forming thing. Birds go usually back to the same spot all the time. So once they do that, and once that bird hits this,
if you put a few of these around the vineyard and put a flock reflector or two up, the birds see the flock reflector, they land on the shock stick. They don't know it's the shock stick that hurts, they think it's the flock reflector. So they work together. Now you got two things working for you instead of just
But you want to put that up high.
Up
that's
high.
kind of interesting. I would
the
put that
easiest
on the vine, just attach it to the vine, but you want it up higher, so
well,
that's the first thing.
They're going to land on the highest spot and then jump down. So get it up high, make it easy to land on.
Very good. Moving on to North Carolina. Charlie, thank you for holding on, and you're up next. How can we help you?
I have 4 poultry houses, and they're about 500 feet long by 40s, and we have a bad starling problem. They get in my generator and build nests around my, the radiator and parts of the generator, and we've tried different snakes and all kind of owls and everything else, and I was wondering what do y'all recommend that I need to get started to take care of this problem?
Well, the shock tape will certainly help. Depending on the structure that you have and the amount of beams that you have inside your poultry houses, will be what determine what I recommend for you. For sure, you want to put some shock tape inside those buildings. But we also have a gel product that we didn't have time to bring with us today that you can mix and match with this tape. And what happens is the birds will fly into your poultry barn. They'll land either on this, all natural gel or the shock tape, and it'll make it uncomfortable. We'll keep them out. You also want to limit the entry points to the poultry barns. You have open windows and net them. Make it so they only have one way in and one way out. And if you do that, then you can also sort of hang these. We have these nets that you can hang up to eliminate that problem as well. We almost make curtains out of nets. So there's stuff we could definitely help you with. We can't cover it all today, but if you give us a call, we'll hook you up. But the shock tape for sure is a good first step.
Now, maybe he's on the inside. I was considering that maybe it was on the outside, talking about his generators and again, making nests on the outside. If it is on the outside of the building, how does that scenario change if it does?
It's the same thing. You can put the shock tape outside. Typically what we try to do is if you have a poultry thing, we don't want the birds pooping onto the ground so that the chickens are eating it and getting sick. So we try to do both. Depends. Once we have a complete scenario, we can see what's going on. We'll do the simplest thing first. Whatever his problem is, we can easily keep birds off of generators. Multiple ways of doing it.
Very good.
So.
All right, and with that, we're going to take our last break, but let me give you our telephone number if you're watching or listening in and want to join the conversation. 877-731-6733 is our telephone number. We'll be giving you Flockfree and Make a Move telephone number as well. It'll be after our program is over, special rates and deals tonight. Those of you that are watching and listening, just because you are watching or listening to our new friends and family here at Flockfree and Make a Move. But before that, we're going to take our last break, come back and take your telephone calls. We'll be right back.
This is Rural Radio Live. We'll be right back after these messages.
I'm watching the whole show. All excited.
2 minutes. Good calls, too.
We'll mention the hazer a little bit.
Okay. And who is it? The next call is about hazers. Let's go. Well, hazers might be the answer. Do you want to take the call first or talk about hazers first?
Probably Steve.
Okay. All right. We're going to let the call kind of lead you into the hazer product. So do we have that handy, or we're just?
It's looking good. The collar's about geese. That's why she thought it was
Geese.
Perfect.
Okay.
transition. You guys, it's going great.
It is. Okay, go ahead, Beck.
You got the hazer? We'll get this thing out of the way.
Winter. All right, in 1 minute. Yeah, we can put that up.
They can run the video, I guess, of the hazing.
Yeah, they can run that, but it's also up here, and,
Sure.
and just so it doesn't, you might want to tilt it. Yeah, there you go, so they can get a shot of this front. That's the side's not much to look at. So,
I'm just putting powder all over myself. It was nice to meet you
Nice
guys.
meeting you too. Thank you so much.
Good luck
Yeah.
with everything.
Cherokee.
Come back and see us.
Definitely.
right. Once we see the video, let's take it down. They want to make sure it's just too big. So leave it up there. No, leave it up there.
Okay.
But don't leave it up after we go to the video here. Take it down.
Okay.
After we'll talk about it. So you want to take the call first? Okay. All right. Here we go.
Welcome back to Rural Radio Live. Now, here are your hosts.
And welcome back to our program, our toll-free number for you to join us as we introduce a new product, new friends here to our network of families at Flockfree and Make 'em Move. Telephone number for you to join us, 877-731-6733. We're going to go right back to our telephone calls and keep you guys working tonight here, Paul. The caller from Oklahoma, I believe. Is that right, Jim?
Yeah, that's correct.
Go ahead.
I live across the street from a small city lake, and every year for 4 or 5 months, these wild geese move in, and first they clean up all the grass on the park area, and then they move to the yards. And I don't know how much you know about geese, but they don't bite it off. They pull it up, and they will absolutely ruin the yard. And I tried putting some ribbons up, and it worked for a little while, but they were smarter than me, apparently. So they're back in my yard eating my grass up, and I can't run them off. And also littering on everything. So if you can imagine how 40 or 50 big geese damage they do. Anyway, I'd like to have an answer for that.
I think you've called the right place here. We're going to put Paul and Tom to work and answer that question.
We actually have a real easy answer for you. You know, those 40 or 50 geese, they'll poop a pound a day. So this poor guy's getting 50 pounds of poop on his yard a day, so I sympathize. Paul and I both had kids that played sports, and they used to run around and play on sports fields that were covered with bird poop. So we came up with a solution. We use a material called Fog Force. The active ingredient is methyl and threnolate. It's hard to say, but you just use the term MA. It's made from the skin of a Concord grape and soybean oil. The skin of a Concord grape has acidity to the skin of it. So using this solution, we actually make an invisible haze. When smaller birds, seagull size and larger, fly through it, they have a nerve in their beak called the trigeminal nerve. When they fly through it, it causes pain.
Like a toothache, you said.
Sort of like a toothache, exactly. It doesn't hurt the birds, but they fly through it breathing and it hurts. Now, the only bird that isn't affected in flight but is also affected by walking through it are geese. It's a wonderful thing.
Wow.
So the machine that we have an industrial hazer and a little portable guy here. You put this in your front yard or your backyard on a sports field. The geese will walk through this stuff, it'll cause them pain, and they will leave. One of our machines has done a whole baseball field. One machine's done a whole soccer field. Works every time. The birds can't get used to it. It's just a fantastic product.
Here's so we're seeing, and for those of you on radio, there's a stream like a sprayer, like you might come out of a sprayer machine, spraying a field of crops or something about like that.
Yeah, that machine we designed that machine for applications such as golf courses, things of that nature. Because it's small, compact. You can put that around a restaurant. You can put it anywhere that you want to hide it. It comes with a camouflage cover, so you can hide it in bushes. And it works really great. We use those in the warehouses, loading docks. We use them in ethanol plants. We use them inside the Home Depots, on top of the Home Depots for seagulls. So anywhere where you have a bird problem, this little guy will work.
But this is more of a serious problem, I would think. Now, this is not just, your reflectors. So you mentioned football fields, baseball, any kind of a playing field makes golf courses.
Yes, with the geese, it's very effective. They don't have to be flying like Tom said. We did a college field in New Jersey, in Jersey City, New Jersey, where they were actually bringing a border collie there. And nothing against the border collie. He was doing his job, but he's not there all the time. The machine that we left there was an industrial unit, which has a programmable timer on it. It can be adjusted to deploy at different times of the day. And it's relentless. It's there all day long. So it'll start 5 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, putting a haze in the air that you cannot see. The birds can react to it. It smells like grapes. It's all natural, and it's very, very effective. We moved all the geese off that field, and they finally moved to a soccer field. So they came to us and said, we need a machine for our soccer field. Then we installed another machine there. They moved off that field. Now they're geese free right now.
How long will that take, by the way? Just
within days.
What happened was I said to them, call me in a month. So I figured it'll take at least a month. Within 2 weeks, he said they called me up and said, Paul, the geese are gone. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and the fluid, the machine holds 2.5 gallons of the fluid.
There's the industrial,
that's
industrial strength
yeah,
version.
As an indoor-outdoor fan, holds 2.5 gallons. The box on top is the control box with a timer. We can set the timer to go off anytime, day or night. Typically, we run it every 3 minutes off for 15, 20 seconds on. That machine we're using to repel birds out of blueberry fields, things of that nature. You just need to be able to plug it in. We use that in airport hangars, anywhere where you need great coverage.
And again, those of you listening on the radio, it's a large fan, almost like a drying fan almost.
Yes. It's a circulating fan, actually. It's not a blower fan. A blower fan blows like in a tube. This actually takes the chemical and goes out, up, and down.
Puts a
makes
beautiful
a
plume in
huge
the
cloud.
air. Beautiful.
If you can smell it, we're chasing birds. There's no birds around our shop, let's put it that way, so we test every machine.
Well, I hope that helps Jim in Oklahoma. Thank you very much for the call. Let's go to
It'll
Texas.
work. It'll work.
Winter calling us from the state of Texas. Thanks for holding on, Winter.
Yes. I'm Texas over here. I've got a car wash. I've got a car wash that I have where I have a bird problem.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening, I even used the chicken wire I put at the top right there to seal it off. And also I've used the owl, and it works for a short while, but boy, I have a real bad problem where they just poop all over my equipment and everything. So what I wanted to ask Tom and Paul, whether or not if I could use that shock tape and put it along the ledge, and then I could actually put one of the machines on top of the building so it could have the sunlight, and maybe that would keep them out.
Definitely.
Thanks, Winter.
Yeah, there's shock tape on the coping. Anywhere you put the shock tape, the birds will not sit. If you put a machine up on top, then you'll keep the birds away from 2.5 acres away. Anytime they fly near the car wash, it'll hurt. And then when they try to land on something, it hurts. If you were to put a flock reflector up, they see the flock reflector. They land on the building, it hurts. When they fly through the air, it hurts. So after a while, they're going to get the idea, heck, this place stinks. I got to get out of here. And that's the idea. You mix and match the different deterrents together.
Yeah, he might need to do a couple of things. Winter.
Start with the basic, and then you see how the birds react, then you do the next thing. But typically, if you do 3 things, you're going to get 90% reduction.
You can also install a Moby on top of the roof. The Moby was a small unit that we had here because we try and affect the birds in flight. So like Tom said, when the birds land on the shock tape, it serves 2 purposes: to keep the birds up and flying, and the haze in the air will affect their trigeminal nerve in their beaks. So by them landing, we're always keeping them up flying constantly through the haze.
Yeah, we have this theory. There's dynamic solutions and there's static solutions. Static solutions are anything you mount on a building to physically keep a bird off. So the static stuff keeps the birds in the air, and then the haze, which is our dynamic solution, affects them in the air. So if you can keep them from, if they sit on a building and it hurts, and they fly around a building and it hurts, you cut down on the food source a little bit. You have to do all those things to train the birds to go someplace else. It always works, always.
We're going to try to get one more call here before we have to start wrapping things up. We're going to go to Kentucky. Joe, thanks for holding on, and hopefully we can help you as well. Are you there, Joseph?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, I have a real serious problem. On our roasting, what we call sweet corn, I have a problem with the blackbirds and the starlings. They will peck on it about 2 weeks before it gets in roasting stage. And then the black bugs get in it, and by the time it gets ready to pick, it's ruined. It's full of black bugs. Do you have anything to take care of that problem?
Well, we can help you with the birds, not the bugs. How we do the birds, that yellow machine that you just saw, with the methylphenolate, we actually gave George the farmer one of those. He's a corn grower in the state of New Jersey. He was losing 23% of his corn crop every year due to blackbirds. So he put one of those machines up, and he moved it around to the corn that was getting ready to be ripened, because he planted it in stages. I'm not a farmer, but he did his in stages. So he was sort of moved the machine to the ripest stuff he was getting ready to pick, and he was down to like 5% loss instead of the 23%.
How many acres might it cover for Joe and Joseph and anyone else, a farmer application? Wow, that's you'll get a lot of listeners and viewers that will say, I have that problem.
Depending on wind flow, the yellow machine will get you up to 2 acres of coverage, but you have to be smart and take advantage of the wind. If the wind is blowing against the machine, the wind always wins.
Right.
Take advantage. George was using a gas generator, put it on a cart. The machine has to be slightly above the height of the corn because you don't want to blow it into the corn. You want to blow it above the corn. And it'll work great for George. So I think it'll work great for you too. The bugs, if you call me, I got a bunch of guys that are bug guys. I can hook you up with somebody.
All right, but before we go, let's show the special, if we might, and share that number with our radio listeners as well, if we might. The specials tonight from our friends at Flockfree. Here's their toll-free number. Now, write this number down, listeners and viewers, 877-935-6250. Special pricing just for tuning in and listening in, 877-935-6250. By the way, you're looking for dealers and distributors around the country, are you not?
Yes,
Definitely,
sir.
yes.
We're looking for retail and online distributors. We want to get our product out to people so they can do it themselves.
So anyone watching or listening, they can dial that, use that same number and learn and ask questions. How can I be a dealer? How can I be a distributor?
Yep.
Very
They'll
good.
direct them to our national sales director.
With that, we're going to have to wrap things up here. It's a fast hour. I told you it would be fast, and it has gone. You got to come back and see us again. Paul, I'll start with you. Thanks for so much for being with us. Your final thoughts for our viewers and listeners.
Well, we have multiple products for you, for your listeners to use. There's no bird problem that we cannot stop. Actually, we've been doing this for 8 to 10 years now, and we have proven concepts throughout the board for every type of problem, as your listeners can see. So I just want to thank Mark from RFD TV and your staff for helping us out today with this.
Well, it's great to have you here. It's always, again, a pleasure to welcome new partners and new products. So we hope we will come back. That's a really an invitation we want to stick to.
Thank you very much.
And you have the last word here, Tom. A lot of information tonight. Some of the things you'd like to leave with our viewers and listeners.
Sure. Like I said, we appreciate being here tonight. And just keep in mind that there is no one bird solution. It's a combination of things. And if you guys need any help at all, give us a call. I'd also like to thank the people that got us here. You know, our wives are our partners. Got to say hello and thank you to the wives.
Please.
We're a family-run operation, so our daughters work for us. We have great people in the warehouse, great people in our office. I want to give a special hello to a young guy that worked for us. He still works for us. He was in a bad accident. He's recovering. He's recovering very well.
Good.
We want to send out our wishes to him as well. So thanks for having us. Please give us a call. We can solve your problem. Our products work. We back them up. And we're here for you. Give us a call.
And we didn't cover a lot of the products. You weren't able to bring everything with you. But someone has, again, they didn't get in tonight, calling or viewing, and they do have an issue that they really want to get solved.
The website's great. I'll
call
show
that
you.
number.
Yeah,
and
a
the
lot of information about the different types of machines that we have, the different products that we have. We've got over 23 products. We covered tip of the iceberg tonight.
And you are looking for good people at the number there, distributors and dealers, that you can join your family.
Absolutely. We're looking for good partners to help people solve bird problems.
And again, that toll-free number for information either on the special pricing or dealerships, distributorships, 877-935-6250. 877-935-6250, and website that you see there, Make 'em Move as well. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Mark Oppold. Hope you're flock free.